Good morning. Welcome to Daily Focus. I'm thankful that you have joined me this morning and that you are off to a new day. And a little foggy this morning here in Michigan, and reminds us that we're heading into the fall season, which that used to get me all excited about deer season coming up. But you know what? I haven't had a lot of time to spend in the woods the last few years, but I do like to golf in the fall. It's my favorite time to play golf. And so who knows, maybe I'll get a little bit of that in through the fall months. Looking forward to today. We have some big inspections. We passed some really big inspections yesterday. Thank you for praying. And so things are going forward. The windows for our school came in and have been installed. And so the Lord has been gracious. We've prayed and He has said yes. He's right in every decision, even when He says no. But we are thankful in this situation that He saw that the best thing was to answer our prayers as yes, and so He is continuing to uh, catapult our ministry into what He has for us in the expansion. So we're looking forward to all of that. Well, we're in First Corinthians chapter 1 as we work our way through this amazing book. Paul writes in verse number 10, he says, "Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, that you all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment." In other words, the same decisions. "For it hath been declared unto me of you, my brethren, by them which are of the house of Chloe, that there are contentions among you." Well, we'll talk a little bit about that in the upcoming days, but really, Paul is going to address, if my memory serves me right, he is going to address, I think, 11 issues that have come to him from the house of Chloe, saying our church is in trouble, people are divided, and here's the 11 things that we need to solve as a church, and we need help doing that. And I have to say that one of the most humbling and important steps of maturing as a Christian is when we can admit when we need help, and that we can't handle it, that we're not able to deal with it on our own. And so here, Paul just reminds them of what is so important in marriage, what is important in the family, what is important in the church, really what is important in business, what is important in a country. And that is that you all speak the same thing. In other words, he is not necessarily saying that you have to always agree on every nuance of everything, but you do have to be going the same direction. You do have to embrace the same vision. When there becomes a dichotomy and a friction of where you're going to go, if you can think of a three-legged race, um, it may get awkward and you may even trip and fall and you may have to get back up. But a three-legged race requires that the people be going in the same direction, no matter how coordinated the two people are, no matter how effective they could be. If they try going different directions, one or both are going to get hurt, but they're going to go nowhere. And that's exactly the picture here. And Paul is saying, listen, there's room for debate, there's room for disagreement, but not in the direction, not in the vision. You have to be united in what did God design for the church? What is your roles in the church? And what do you do in the body to help the body perform at peak performance? Those are the things that are not up for debate. Those are the things that are not up for discussion. These are the things that God has settled. These are the things that God has said. And so, what Paul is going to deal with in this book is he's going to take these issues that have created divisions and he's going to say, okay, what did God say? And what is your part? What is the lane that you're supposed to stay in? And how is it that God is going to lead the whole as everyone is doing their part? And so when he says that you are to speak the same thing, in other words, be completely uh, connected in the vision that God has for the church, the purpose that God has for the church, the emphasis that God has for the church. Make sure that you are saying the same thing, and that there's no more divisions among you. In other words, don't come up with a new plan than what God does. Don't add to what God has said. Don't take away from what God has said. Let's just all say this is God's plan. Now, we may disagree a little bit on how that should get done or what's the most effective way to embrace that, but we should all be saying the same thing about God's design for the church and how it functions. And then he says that you be perfectly joined together. That means everyone doing their part in the body. The eye is doing what it's supposed to do, the ear is doing what it's supposed to do, the tongue is doing what it's supposed to do, the heart is doing what it's supposed to do, the toenail is doing what it's supposed to do. Everybody, every part in the body is just doing what it's designed to do, and that you're fitly joined together in the same mind. In other words, we're working so that the body is healthy, and then that we're making the decisions in our lanes. The eye is making the decisions that help everything to see the way it's supposed to, and so on and so forth. And then he said, because there is contention, and yet God isn't confused. God hasn't changed his program. So let's just get rid of all of the personal desires, the personal preferences, and let's come back and let's agree on what God has said for the church and its function. And I think no matter where you're at in life, whether it is your marriage, whether it is parenting, whether it's an office situation, I think what we have to do is come back and to look at what was God's design. Oh, we can debate through and work through, and we should. That's how we make good decisions. Some of the nuances and the details, but we should be absolutely convinced about God's design, and we should be promoting God and his marvelous design in every area of our life. May God bless you. I hope that you'll do that today and that it'll be an encouragement